And this is all off the same seismic data. So what this is showing is that there is no way on Earth you could have got a tsunami from this earthquake. First of all, the epicenter was inland, and it wasn't a very strong quake. The next link number 4, is an image where I've actually taken the detailed seismographs from multiple seismic stations, and I chose these. I have never mentioned this before, but I chose these stations, the first 3, because these are the ones that the U.S. Geological Survey used to say that this was a 9.0. But when you look at this, the numbers on the left-hand side of the graph, they denote the earthquake intensity. These are in the 6 range. They're not up through the sky. And if you look at the seismograph for station MYG 004, you can see very closely very clearly on the second seismic event that there's a very, very sharp spike in this seismogram, and this means this spike that you're seeing is similar to being close to a thunderclap. If you're right next to the lightning, you get a really, really sharp crack, and you don't get a whole lot of echoing afterwards. You hear rumbling thunder when the lightning is a little bit further away. If you go down to the next one, MYG013.
Jim, could I just interrupt? Could you just give out the link again? Because I think a lot of people are scratching their heads.
No, they're not.
If you could give it slowly.
David, they're not scratching their head, David. It's already up at the chat room. So everyone who wants the link can get it. Besides that, we're not supposed to be speaking about links on this radio show. So it's already taken care of, David.
Good. Okay. If you look at station MYG013, first of all, I need to explain. We're looking at 3 separate seismic events, and this gets into this earthquake being synthetic. We have multiple seismic events with different signatures occurring exactly within the same time frame, which doesn't happen in reality. These were all presented as being the exact same quake by the U.S. Geological Survey. But if you look at them, you can see that station IBR 003 to the south has a completely different seismic signature from what came out of the north. If we were looking at the same seismic event, we'd be seeing at least two events on this bottom seismograph. But on the bottom seismograph here, it's delayed further than it should be, considering that these are synchronized at the same time frame. And the first spike, or the first event, is completely missing off the bottom seismograph. So we're looking at a different seismic event here. If you scroll down to the bottom image, this is at station MYG011. This is the image that was closest to the epicenter, or the reported epicenter that created the tsunami. And whereas station MYG004 on top spikes out at 2700, closest to the epicenter, within 22 miles of this epicenter, station MYG001 spikes out at 700. And it has the no spike, and the wave shape resembles more of the muted rolling echo you would expect from a distant thunderclap. So what we have is the ground distortion here from all the vibration being shown at a distance from the epicenter. This proves that the earthquake did not originate at sea, because if it did, you would have the spike or something closer to it on MYG 011's reading, and instead the spike is on MYG 004, which is way inland. So let's proceed on. Okay. This link number 5 is a link to a Wikipedia article about earthquakes and what they're capable of doing. And if you click into this article, the Wikipedia article, it clearly states that if you have a magnitude 9.0, it will devastate a region 1,000 miles across. And yet, when you look at the images of the Kobe quake, which is I'm going to give people a little bit of time, so I'll gab a little bit. People need time to get through this. This is not easy information to absorb right away. Maybe I don't have a link to the Kobe quake. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, that's link number 7. Link number 7 is pictures of the damage from the Kobe quake, which was a magnitude 6.9 in the country of Japan. Japan is built for earthquakes, but you know, when you shake things enough, you're going to get at least some damage. When you look at these earthquake photos, the damage from the Kobe quake, you see fallen skyscrapers, collapsed highway bridges. You see just general mayhem. And when you look at the images from the 9.0, which had 100 times the seismic intensity of this Kobe quake, when you go into Sendai, which is a city that was very close to the epicenter of this 9.0, there's no damage anywhere. When I got the damage report out of Sendai, and I forgot to link it, but and I can't hunt that down right away. But to sum up the damage report in Sendai, they had one parking garage collapse at parking ramp collapse at a grocery store. They had one church steeple get cracked so that it had to be repaired before people could go into the church. And they had 8 other buildings get damaged that was enough so that it should be fixed before people enter. And they had 70 other buildings receiving minor cosmetic damage that didn't affect habitation at all. They had no collapsed buildings, no leaning buildings. They had absolutely nothing get destroyed in Kobe that couldn't be repaired quickly, other than the parking ramp that fell at a grocery store. So what this basically says is that we're not looking at a 9.0. There's no way that it could happen. The quake damage in Sendai is very, very indicative of what you would expect from a seismic intensity 6.67. They upgraded the earthquake early on to a 6.8 because your peak seismic reading on a seismogram is not going to be at your strongest station. It's not going to be your real seismic intensity. You've got to take a summing of different seismic stations and then triangulate where the real epicenter was, and then go off of that to calculate your real seismic intensity. And when they did that, it was a 6.8, and it was inland in an agricultural area that didn't really have a lot of built-up stuff. Okay, if you go to link 5.1, this link is a chart that I made using a standard electronic formula for decibels, but it's the same as a Richter scale. Your linearity and your decibel scale is the same without a Richter scale. And so if you click on this, now this is a huge chart, so when you click on it, it's going to look like there's nothing on your screen. You've got to go over the left-hand side of your screen. You'll see a little line going up it. Click on that to expand it. And what I've done here is, with a lot of these charts that publish, they're exponential charts that you see. And the exponential charts, for most people, they don't really get it. They don't understand what the chart is saying. So I made a linear chart showing you the difference between the quake in Kobe and the quake that they're saying happened out in the ocean 45 miles from Sendai. If you scroll to the bottom of this chart, you can see that the intensity, that the actual energy in a 6.9 to 7.2 range quake is only about 50 pixels off the bottom of the screen. So then you can scroll up and maybe 500 or so pixels up. There's your magnitude 8.3, the Great Tokyo earthquake. I don't know if it was the greatest earthquake in Japan's history, but it was the one that made history. Above that is the actual tested version of Tsar Bomba with an 8.4. That's Russia's biggest nuke. The next step up from that is the full power version of Tsar Bomba, which they're too afraid to test. Now we get up to magnitude 8.8, which is about halfway up the graph. That's the 2010 Chilean earthquake. And when Chile had this earthquake, they only got a small tsunami that was about 5 feet tall. You go all the way up to the top of this chart, and this is what they're saying happened off the coast of Sendai. So basically what they're saying is that if this earthquake happened 45 miles away from Sendai, Sendai should be a rubble field. Absolutely nothing standing. The U.S. Geological Survey ran their phonographs, and they said at the epicenter of this quake, they had a peak G-force on the ground of 12.1 Gs. Anything over a 0.8 Gs will collapse highway infrastructure, most of it anyway. So we have here a massive lie being built up by the government, even from official sources. Even the U.S. Geological Survey is in on this. They are lying. They are lying like it's just despicable. It's just I was just really I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. If you click on image number 10, this is an image of a Japanese newsroom that was right near in the most heavily hit seismic zone for this earthquake, according to media sources. And I've got a couple of screen captures of the newsroom with the earthquake in progress, and at the end, when the earthquake is over. The end picture when the earthquake is over, you can clearly see that a laser printer is still sitting on the table. And if you watch the video, which is embedded in the links page, you will see that the people stay seated at their computers typing all the way through the quake. A few of them get up. One lady gets up and runs for cover. But this is an earthquake where if you can keep your cool, you're at your computer typing. And there's no way that could happen in a 9.0 because you'd be airborne. You would be absolutely airborne. So they released the real G-force statistics for a 9.0 and said that it happened. But when you see this, nobody in that room pulled 12 Gs. There's just no way. If you click on image number 6, this is an image that is a compilation of various different tsunami videos that took place right when the tsunami was coming in. And the whole point of this is to show you that there's no quake damage. I had one reader email me saying no quake damage to wooden homes, and then he was saying, well, they're all steel frames. Nope, I went back and I verified. Japan uses wood in their homes. They are not steel framed. And so we have stucco-walled, wood-framed homes with no damage in a regular urban neighborhood. We have, and then in another region, miles and miles and miles away, we have another city with concrete buildings, some old, some new, and none of them show any quake damage at all. We have an image of
James, we need to go to a break, and so we'll get to the wood versus concrete damage here in about 3 minutes. This is the Micro Effect Radio Network. Abel Dangerfield, McConnell, James Stone, and David Hawkins. Thank you.
Okay, and I want to make clear here, if anyone has any questions, the article that I published has only about 15% of the information I got. I had such a sea of information and different facts about this quake that I had to really, really, really strip it down. Even though the article looks massive when you see it, there is so much more supporting information that I can answer virtually any question that you're going to call in and have. So if you have any questions, don't be afraid to call. Going down this article, this image here, I'm going to cut to the chase. The gist of this image. If you look at the lower right-hand corner of this image, I've got 4 frames showing the tsunami coming in, and there's some things I want to point out here. All the cars are sitting. Perfectly in order. No one is trying to leave. There's no quake damage to the building. We have a city just sitting there